Welcome to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. My name is Ben, the Duke of Design, and thanks for choosing to hang with us for the next hour and some change as we talk about what's happening in the world of video games. You can find us on your favorite podcast service, you can find us on YouTube, and you can find us on our socials, which are linked in the description, as well as streaming live on Twitch, which we are doing right now. Before we get started, I take great pleasure in introducing my fellow Dukes. First off, Alfredo, the Duke of Education. How you doing?
You know, could be better. I vented a little bit off there to you guys about my, lovable yet stupid dog going to the emergency room. Not once, not twice, but probably about 4 times this week. But we're not here to talk about adulting. We're here to talk about video games, and something exciting happened this week. So, excited to talk about it with you guys.
Indeed. We'll get right to it after I introduce Taylor, the Duke of Nostalgia. How's it going?
Hello. I'm doing all right. I'm coming off a sickness that may or may not have been COVID. So, we'll see how I get through this.
Good luck.
Thanks.
So, for this episode, we're going to have plenty to discuss because Sony finally gave us a taste, a little morsel of what they've been cooking. But first, what have you guys been playing? Actually, you know what? I'll start first because I've just been playing more Pathologic 2. I'm very close to the end. I'm so close.
And how long is this game, by the way?
It's pretty long. It covers like 12 days of in-game time.
Okay.
And each day is roughly like 2 hours. So I think you're probably going to play a minimum like 25 hours or so. I checked my clock on PS5 and it said 30 hours because I've been doing a bit of restarting. And every time you die, you go back to the previous save. So it takes a little bit more time, and I've died a lot. I've died a lot in this game. I'm really enjoying it. It's extraordinarily frustrating, and it's very difficult at times. I talked about it in more depth before, so I don't want to dive too deep into it, because I think I want to talk about it again more in depth once I finish it. But that probably won't be until I'm on the podcast next, which will be in a few weeks. That's me. Taylor, what about you?
I've been playing a little bit of 2 games. Mostly I've been playing Pokemon Sword and Shield still, because that game actually has a lot more content in it than I thought it did. I finished the main storyline of the game, and I bought the DLC for the Crown Tundra and Isle of Armor DLC. 30 extra bucks, and the completely different director than the main game. And it's so much better. The DLC is one of my hopes for what Pokemon can be in the future. It's fully open world. You have complete control of the camera, which is, little things, but they're nice in the Pokemon game.
So was it fixed perspective on?
It's fixed perspective in every other part of the game except for like the wild area, which is a new feature in the games. Right. So everything in the Crown Tundra and Isle of Armor are free camera. You can move it around however you see fit. The towns are also in this open world, which is nice. They're very small. It's a very small little 2 parts, but there's some cool features. The post game part, which is the Crown Tundra, has this neat little online battle thing where you team up with 4 people and you go into this den of really, really strong Pokemon. They're not like super strong. They're a little nerfed for for people to battle against, but they're big Pokemon. They're really big, and you've got kind of weak Pokemon yourselves. You have to rent them, and so you and 4 people you can't communicate with online are actively going through this little dungeon to get to the legendary Pokemon at the end. And you fight 4 Pokemon in a row, and it's very nice because you don't have any communication with them, so you've got to kind of telegraph. It gives you all the options to telegraph your moves to people without actually saying what they are. Like it tells you if someone's using a status move or an attacking move or getting bigger. So it's kind of fun, and there's a challenge mode. You can see how far in the dungeon you can get instead of just 4 dungeons in. You can keep going as far as you can go with your team, and there's like I'll be on there and there'll be people who I know are kids who are clearly just clicking buttons, and I'm like, why did you do that? That's so stupid. You're gonna cost us the dungeon. But then you get like these teams that just feel so smooth, and the way the game works, it's just like a mini game in the Pokemon game, but it feels so Pokemon, you're battling with people to fight one big strong Pokemon, and it just feels right. And when you get in like this zone with these people, even if you don't know them, it just feels cool. It feels cool to be battling with people. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say.
This is like a raid? Is that what you're for Pokemon?
Yeah, it's a raid for Pokemon. They're called max raid dens, where the Pokemon that are in them are gigantic and oversized, and you have to take them down one at a time. And whichever one you beat, you can take with you. But everyone has to vote on who takes this Pokemon. So let's say your Pokemon gets hit next to being knocked out. You want the Pokemon that you're getting, and when you enter the dungeon, you see what type of Pokemon is at the end. You know it's dark or grass or water or fire or something like that. So you know to collect the Pokemon in through the dungeon that are best against it at the end to make it easy and quick and nobody loses. But you have to argue with 4 people without being able to talk to them about which paths do you take. It's branching paths, which Pokemon you get to take, and you so it's completely random. It's really fun, and it's a good little challenge. It's a good little challenge. I've played it a couple times now. That's mostly what I've been doing, because it's really fun, and you're rewarded heftily through doing it. The rates of catching a shiny Pokemon, which is the rare cool Pokemon, is 1 in 300, which is actually fairly easy to achieve when you're battling 4 Pokemon at a time. So, yeah.
I'm curious to know what the how exactly does it work that you communicate without being able to talk to these people? Is there like an in-game like chat function or anything? It's communication through telegraphing your moves. So you can see what moves you're going to be making during the battle. So there was this one time I was battling with people. One Pokemon is really weak to the one we were battling against. Kept getting almost knocked out. If you get knocked out 4 times, you leave the dungeon. You're done. So one Pokemon just kept healing the other one up because they knew if this one got knocked out. And I'm like, that works great. The other 2 are strong against it. You can team up. The rest of it is clearly it's hidden voting. You don't know who's voting for what. So you vote for the right choice. A lot of the times you don't get your choice because people are idiots. But I think you can kind of see where their cursor is highlighting. I'm probably wrong about that. I might just be imagining it, but let's say you've got 3 paths, you have to choose one, and I think the game just figures out like if someone ties for one trumps the other. So there's really no way to communicate, but you do kind of have to work with these people without being able to communicate, which I think is actually pretty fun. It's a lot more challenging than most Pokemon. So cool.
I like the story. There's actually a lot of cute interactions with the characters. I laughed a solid couple of times. The characters are a lot more charming than the ones in the main game, which are just annoying. But in the post game, you can do whatever you want. There's no you don't have to be held to this like gym. You're going through a line and you're battling each gym. You're gonna become champion. You're not like upheld to. You don't have to uphold to that like story. So you can do anything. And whoever the director is, I forget his name, but he's brand new to this, and he's knocking it out of the park with good, brand new Pokemon content instead of the same old drab we've had for years. So
yeah, I was gonna say that sounds genuinely novel, which is refreshing after all the complaining about Pokemon that we've been doing on this podcast.
I will complain that the DLC is $30 for both. Sure. You get both, but so that's $90 for a not even half a good Pokemon game. So I will complain about that.
Which is surprising that you bought it though, because you were ripping on Pokemon last week, Pokemon Shield,
but
and so were the others. To be specific,
I want to catch them all. And the DLC. I've got the disease, and I want to catch them all. And honestly, looking at trailers for it, it looked better. Especially, honestly, the thing that sold me on it was the fact that it's open world, the entirety of it. It's still not well rendered. The thing about these raids is that every time you catch one of these Pokemon, the animation of the Pokeball, the giant Pokeball falling into the ground, smashes, creates some dust, and there's some rocks around it. And the texture on the rocks is so bad for rocks. And you see it every single time you catch a Pokemon. It's just this smeared brown color, and I'm like, it looks like you took
Switch.
It's the power of not really trying to make rocks in a game. I could make a rock in Blender right now. There are tutorials that teach you how to do that in less than 30 minutes. I'm just saying, it's just making a rock with a texture on it is not that hard. We were talking about the sprites and stuff in Pokemon last week, and they don't. A simple thing to do is when you're rigging characters in animation for 3D is weight painting to tell the game not to like move certain parts of it. Pokemon doesn't even bother with that, and it might be because the Switch can't handle it. I don't know, but they don't bother weight painting their models, so they constantly the arms are moving up and down and clipping into their bodies, and it really does take you right out of the immersion for an RPG. It's inappropriate. It's unacceptably inappropriate. How little care went into Pokemon, but I digress. The other game I've been playing, which is a lot more fun, is Metroid Prime. Getting ready to play Metroid Dread.
What are you playing on?
I'm playing it on the Switch, and Metroid Prime on the Switch. One positive is the ability to load save states. The ability to just walk into a dungeon, walk into a room and there's a mini boss, and I can just save immediately and just keep reloading when I lose instead of having to trek back, which is really nice. That's a great thing about the emulator. Negative thing is the Switch's controller is actually a lot smaller than I thought it was. Because I played this on the SNES a long time ago, and the controller didn't feel that small. I mean, it is a small controller, the SNES controller, but it's bigger than the Switch controller. It blows my mind.
On the SNES? You're talking about Metroid Prime, right?
Yeah.
Which is the 3D one, right?
Oh, no, I'm playing the original
on GameCube. So you're playing Super Metroid.
Super Metroid. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I say Prime? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm playing Super Metroid. Which beautiful pixel art. And the Switch controller is a little too small to be doing all these quick moves, honestly. Small things I don't like about Super Metroid is the enemies don't telegraph their moves half as much as I wish they would. Modern Metroidvanias like Hollow Knight, the enemies telegraph their moves almost perfectly. You always know what they're going to do. Not in this game. The assets, as much as I like the pixel art, it's hard to tell what is what in some rooms because interactable things have the same color and look as things you can't interact with, which does make me feel like I'm a bit more of an explorer who's stranded on a planet. So there's some mystery and fun to that, but I do wish the games told you a little bit more about what you needed to be doing. And I'm just glad that I have save states, because not knowing that stuff, especially when I was younger, was so annoying. It pushed me away from the game. I'm not going to play this, but now that I can just save the game, load back in a room whenever I feel like it. A lot easier. So that's all I got to say about those.
Nice. Alfredo, what about you?
I have been playing a little game called Ghost of Tsushima, which is PS4, PS5, PlayStation exclusive, third-person samurai game. But I actually have not been playing the single player because I finished that. As much as I loved it, I don't want to play the single player anytime soon. And I also don't really want to pay for the DLC because money is tight. So I hopped into the Legends mode, which is their 2-player co-op, 4-player co-op, depending on what mode that you actually play in. Just a bunch of people fighting hordes of demons, essentially. So I always used to play their basically survival wave-based kind of mode with 4 different players, and they have different classes that you can be. It's kind of like a RPG. They have like Nightmares mode, which is like the hard of the hard, and they also have like a really, really solid loot-based gear system to it, which is part of the leveling up. So I played it a ton when it first came out, probably a year ago, maybe last October or so, and I kind of stepped off because they actually later on came out with the raid mode, so basically they had a story mode, that you could just do with 2 players, and then they have actual raid mode, and the raids are 3 different parts. They're supposed to take like hours on hours to do, but the thing is, it required you to have 4 people in order to play it. So very common for games to do this. Things like The Division, like Destiny.
Well.
Yeah, they require you. They don't have matchmaking in order to do it. You just like have to actually, have friends to do this, which some people like me just simply do not have, unfortunately. So I was sad last year when this came out and I couldn't play it, but I got over it. Lo and behold, a couple months ago, I want to say, I don't know when, but I hopped in and they added the ability to matchmake for the raids. So I hopped into the raids. I'm pretty trash because I haven't played in a while, and they're like supposed to be super hard, as raids always are. But I was excited to play it for the first time. And the matchmaking works pretty good, actually, because they offer I guess, different settings for the matchmaking. Basically, when you do it, they ask you, okay, do you prefer if people have a mic? Do you want mics only? Kind of things like that, so that what is your objective in completing the raid? Do you want just to complete the chapter? Do you want to complete like all the bonus objectives, like things like that? So, and then you're matched with people who match your exact criteria. And the loading times are actually, like, the actual matchmaking is really, really quick. So you're not even waiting that long. So I was able to hop in the raid, and it's really, really... it's more thought out than I thought it was going to be honest. Like, it really, I can see why they required people to, have voice communication and people that you knew, because these raids really do require teamwork. I've never done any sort of raid, not in Destiny, not in Division, not any sort of game. So this was my first time doing it. And doing it in Ghost of Tsushima was, it included puzzle solving, because you got to figure out what exactly you need to do. It's not just, hacking and slashing away at people. It's like slight puzzle elements. It's a lot of communications, especially in the second chapter. There are just moments that you have to do certain things that you have to communicate in order to just proceed, because of the puzzles, and they're different every time, so it's not like you can just memorize it. But all that to say, I had a really, really fun time doing it. Now, unfortunately, the second chapter was real long, like probably about 3 hours to complete. I got a really good group after a couple times of getting a couple bad groups. So I got a really good group in chapter 1. We decided to all stick together, go into chapter 2. We were all solving the puzzles for the first time. We were getting to know each other. It was really cool, because I don't use voice communications that often in games, but it was really fun to just have a group to play together, figure it out, just experience the story all together. But we were so close to finishing the chapter at the last minute, and I did not realize how long this game was, and I had a performance that I needed to go perform at. So, we were probably honestly on the very last section, maybe 10 minutes more, but I stalled all I possibly could, and I had to go. So I just had to leave my party and
let your team down.
Let my team down. Hopefully they were able to finish it with 3 people. Probably not, because it was specifically a section that really required 4 people, but maybe they did it. I don't know.
You'll never know. You'll never know.
It's one of the gaming.
Were you using mic chat or not?
What's it?
Were you using the mic or not?
I was not using the mic.
So you just bounced.
I got to be cowardly. Everyone else was using a mic, and they were just referring to me by my screen name Riku, and telling me what to do. And I could hear all of them, because I'm way too anxious to be on a mic with random strangers, including you guys.
But you did just I'll bleep it in the video, but you did just dox your screen name. So.
Well, but there's a whole bunch of numbers, so you don't know.
You don't.
It's not
know
just
which one.
So any Riku.
Okay.
But yeah, all that to say, I had an amazing experience. I'm going to try this maybe tomorrow after I go to rehearsal this time.
With more time.
I'll let you guys know how it goes, but it's a very, very good mode, and
awesome.
Supposedly they're supposed to add to it, so I'm looking forward to even more content.
Awesome. Great. Well, that leads us to the meat of the show, which is PlayStation had a little conference this past week.
You may have heard of
their 2021 showcase, and there was quite a bit here to talk about. What were you guys' overall impressions about the showcase?
Who wants to go first?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's really all I have to say.
What about you, Alfredo?
All right. I was disappointed. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I was disappointed in the overall show. I think my expectations were too high. I wanted them to meet the highs that they did last year with their conference last September 2020, and they just didn't for me. I remember last year specifically, they were, it was just game after game. There were surprises, and this year there was never a dull moment. This year there were in the middle section where it was just a lull, and I was like, there's only so many minutes left in this conference, and I'm not really, seeing the bangers that I wanted to see. So
yes.
It could have been well paced, and also, it was just overhyped for me. Yeah. But we'll get into it.
It's pretty funny because now that I look at my notes, I do have they're all negative. It's but no, I do still stand by my statement that this is a pretty good conference.
Yeah, I think I'm with you mostly, Taylor. I think it was, but I totally agree with what you're saying, Alfredo, in that I feel like it was basically 30 minutes of and then 10 minutes of holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So
especially since, real quick, there wasn't a lot of gameplay. It was all just teaser trailers. And that
even the gameplay that we did see, we'll get into the specifics, but I was not impressed.
Okay.
Well, let's get into the specifics then. I'd like to start with the first party offerings. This was Insomniac was well represented at this showcase, I would say.
Yep.
First, we got a little teaser for a totally new project we had no idea that they were working on. This is Marvel's Wolverine. First of all, what the hell is going on at Insomniac where they could be pumping out games like this?
Right.
They have Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, followed by Ratchet and Clank this spring, and now they've got two more that we know of that they're cooking, which is Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. Crazy.
I mean, Spider-Man Miles Morales must have been so good that Sony's like, take all the money,
right?
Do it,
and Marvel too,
and Marvel, yeah.
IP.
So they're funded. They're lush.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
And speaking of lush, so is Wolverine's ass. That thing's looking good.
Said.
Prime meat.
Took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, I was gonna say, it. Like everyone, I was completely jaw-dropped when that happened because obviously when Insomniac logo and the Marvel came out, we all were like, oh, okay, Spider-Man 2, which we kind of expected. But then it was not New York City, it was a random bar, and then it was just Wolverine. So it's just awesome that we're finally going to get it, and Alfredo is probably going to eventually get his X-Men game that he's been asking about for years is the key thing, because hear me out, there's a good chance, I'd put money that we're gonna see Wolverine in Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah,
I'd put money on it now, because
that'd be great.
In just regular Spider-Man has teamed up with a lot of different superheroes. We've seen Iron Man, we've seen X-Men and the animated series, in the comic, they team up all the time. And now that we finally have it that, Spider-Man's coming out and this new Wolverine by the same developer, it's pretty much guaranteed that we're going to get a team up, which will be real nice.
I wholly believe that because of the way Marvel's handling its movies and how tepid they are about the idea of putting. They're so timid about mixing at the X-Men into the Marvel universe right now, and the Fantastic Four, because they had their own movie series, and now Disney owns the rights. But I can see them doing it with other things. They're using this whole expanded universe stuff on TV to spread into the movies, and using video games as sort of like a litmus test for how the audience will take Wolverine joining the more established MCU. Is probably something they want to see. At very least, I think Spider-Man's meeting Wolverine pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. What will be interesting though is, seeing how, I don't know how exactly they're gonna blend those two different games, because Spider-Man obviously is like this family-friendly, quick quips, like humorous guy, and Wolverine is just like chopping people in half with animation claws. So like,
not
I don't
if
know
Venom's
how that's
in
gonna
it.
work.
Venom's in it. I mean, Venom's much more rated M, especially with Tom Hardy at the helm in the movies.
That's true.
I mean, so, I mean, if the next Spider-Man game is focused on Venom, it's going to be a little bit more mature.
I doubt though that Insomniac will slap a rated M on Spider-Man.
No.
PG.
I think they definitely should on Wolverine though.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But that might be the only thing that might dash our, Spider-Man, X-Men, Wolverine specifically team up in Spider-Man.
Unless the team up happens
in X-Men.
In Wolverine, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which
that's
could.
True.
It could be, you know what? It could just be like just how Marvel does stuff. Could just be like something on the news.
Right.
Spider-Man on the news. Like, oh, he's at the bar. There's a, TV playing news about Spider-Man.
But the good thing is, when my X-Men game will definitely come out, because Insomniac has been reported that they are working on a multiplayer game. We don't know what it is. I assumed it would be in the vein of like something in the Ratchet and Clank universe, either that, or I assumed it would be like some sort of Spider-Verse type thing where, you get Miles, you get Gwen, you get all the different Spider-Men, and it would be that game. But now that they have the Wolverine in their bag, I think, and I'm praying that we're going to get some sort of X-Men. Probably not an Avengers-ish type of thing, because they don't want to step on the toes, obviously, of Crystal Dynamics. But I think, and I'm praying that we're going to get some sort of X-Men game now from them, which will be amazing.
And real quick, I want to throw this back 2 weeks before, Alfredo, when you mentioned you were playing an app game for Marvel. I just saw a trailer for that game you were playing, and I swore it was like DLC for the Avengers game with Mrs. Stretchy Woman.
Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel, that's her name.
It does, the game Marvel Future Alliance, I believe, is what it's called. But that game, their cinematics, it's a mobile game, and it looks good. Like, it looks on par, honestly, with the Avengers game, I would say.
I was shocked. I saw Hulk jump up. I'm like, their
cinematics are good.
Yeah. So wow.
Alfredo, cool. you mentioning that Insomniac is reportedly working on a multiplayer game brings me to the second game we should talk about, which is, of course, we mentioned it, Spider-Man 2. And we saw a trailer here that was a little bit more fleshed out than the Wolverine trailer. Gave us a little bit better of a sense of what is going to be going on there. We had some voiceover there that I could swear is Kraven the Hunter. I think it will be.
Yeah.
So I hope that he's like the big bad behind everything, and then Venom is the primary gameplay antagonist. But we did see Venom as well, which was teased at the end of the first Insomniac Spider-Man game. But what we saw quite a lot of was both Peter Parker and Miles Morales featured heavily in this trailer. Do you think Marvel's Spider-Man 2 will be a co-op game?
Yeah, better be.
I don't think it will.
What?
Because hey, I'm with you. I want it to be, but I do not think it will, because not soon after this trailer released, PlayStation Blog had put out some additional, well, in quotes, additional details about the game, and in it they specifically said that this will be the greatest single-player experience that the Spider-Man franchise has faced thus far, basically. And, like, they were really highlighting single-player. So just because of that, I think all of our hopes and dreams will be dashed. But possibly, it could be a situation like Ghost of Tsushima, where the single player came out, and then months later, oh, we actually are adding this multiplayer mode to Ghost of Tsushima that you can play with all your friends. So we could see something like that with Spider-Man, possibly.
Sure. What do we make of the heavily featuring Miles Morales? To me, it kind of reminds me of Arkham Knight, where you could like seamlessly switch between Nightwing and Batman and Robin and Batwoman, like depending on what the fight parameters were. You could like just in the middle, you could switch between the characters and play as the other one. You think we'll have something like that, where in certain scenes, maybe you'll play part of the campaign as Miles and you'll play part of the campaign as Peter.
Yeah, they specifically chose the Marvel-y Peter Parker, the Tom Holland one, with the stupid robot suit that I hate very much.
With the arms.
I was confused when I saw that.
I hate his little Iron Man suit. I think it ruins most of what I like about Spider-Man. So like there must be that switching mechanic. Like his little robot suit can do more than Miles, just like normal good Spider-Man stuff. I can climb walls faster because I got like 4 robot arms. I don't care for that. But what can I say?
But it does make him so much more spidery because now he's got
makes him more spidery. Makes him Dr. Octopus.
Indeed, yeah, it does. Truly. Okay, well, I think that's enough for Insomniac. Go away, Insomniac. We've seen enough of you.
I mean, go away, but also don't.
But also stick around.
We need more couch co-op. I want to throw that in there. We need more couch co-op games. Everyone in the industry needs to start making more couch co-op. The bin's been so dry.
Well, we might be seeing some couch co-op in Gran Turismo 7, another one of the first-party games that was shown. Do either of you guys have any affinity for these racing games? This one looks pretty damn good.
They are all my brother plays.
Yeah.
So I don't.
I suck at racing games, so I think the last one I actually played was what was the Need for Speed Midnight Underground, something like that. But as far as actually real games, real driving games like Gran Turismo, nope.
If I wanted to hustle people like people doing pool in the movies, I would use Mario Kart. Like that is my jam. I never lose at Mario Kart. You can back me up.
I'm pretty good at Mario Kart, so we'll have to set something else.
We'll have to set.
I'm kind of with you guys. I tend to prefer just
goofier,
more arcadey racing games. I think Need for Speed is more my speed, so to speak. But this game looks gorgeous, and we didn't see anything about PSVR 2, which Sony told us that we wouldn't be seeing anything. However, Gran Turismo Sport, the previous entry, did feature a PSVR mode. I would love it if this game just had top-to-bottom PSVR 2 functionality. I would play the hell out of it if that were the case.
Well, I mean, at their core, I would say racing games are simulator games. Like train simulator or airplane simulator, and like they always look good. Like I can't think of a racing game I've ever seen that I didn't say, "Wow, that's next gen graphics." But I do feel like a lot of that. I mean, people always want good graphics and good game, but a lot of good game just gets lost to the fact that put so much of the good graphics. Like, I mean, as much as I like Lawnmower Simulator, great graphics, just the gameplay isn't there. And so I don't really care.
Yeah, give us some turtle shells,
Yeah.
Come on,
banana peels.
Let's go. All right, we've got another first-party game. This was I think the most hotly anticipated one. God of War Ragnarok. That subtitle is official now. It is not. It is not just assumed.
Yes.
Kind of surprising to see this one. To be honest, guys, I'll give you some of my impressions here. It looks so much like the original God of War 4.
Yes.
I was expecting it. I don't know. I guess I was expecting it to look to blow me away a little bit more the way that God of War 2018 did. But this definitely seems like an iterative step rather than a totally new boundary pushing game.
Yes, Ben.
What do you guys think?
Drag them. Like you took the
not dragging anybody.
No, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying because like it is a bit surprising, a little jarring to me because throughout my life seeing God of War games, they were always so different because they all took inspiration from different religions, and this one is a little disappointing because it's still Norse, but at the same time, it's all that other Norse and Northern Celtic stuff we didn't see last time that I really wanted last time. I really wanted Thor. I really wanted Odin. And Thor, his ass is great too. I love Fat Thor. I love this Fat Thor.
Belly.
Those big, beautiful belly. He's a big, beautiful himbo of a bear, and I love him. No, this is, I think, all the other Norse and Celtic stuff that I wanted to see in the last one. So I'm actually happy that because the story was really charming and really good in the last God of War. So continuing it and just building on these characters makes a lot of sense. And I'm very.
This was another surprising thing to me. They said multiple times during the after show that this game is the conclusion of the Norse saga for God of War, which was interesting to me because I don't know. I mean, these things always end up being trilogies. You know, it's just kind of like the natural thing to do. Most of our stories happen in 3 parts. So it was curious to hear that they're doing, you know, a duology of Norse games. But what do we think? I mean, do we think that they can possibly wrap up the threads they've left loose in the first game within this game? Because the scope of the first game is so small, but it suggests so much more for the second game.
It's deep, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the game is going to be, you know, huge because kind of like how you guys touched about it, the first game was a very intimate story. There weren't like a lot of NPCs, there weren't towns, anything like that. In the gameplay that we were shown at the conference, we saw towns, like we saw tons of NPCs, like we saw you doing, you know, the complete opposite of what you did in the first game. So like they're doing new things with it, and I think like you said, they're alluding to this being the conclusion of this Norse mythology, but that doesn't mean it will be the end of the story as far as Atreus goes. Maybe, maybe Kratos, we don't know, he's probably going to die, but we'll see. But I do think that they're going to go all out as far as gameplay and as far as the story with Kratos, because I feel like they think, you know, if this is gonna be Kratos' last hurrah, or at least in the Norse mythology, then let's give it all we got. In addition, it is, you know, called Ragnarok, so just that brings a lot of, you know, what's the word for it? A lot of we expect
gravitas.
Yeah, we expect it to be Ragnarok, it's gonna be an epic event.
No, I agree with you, Alfredo. This is going to be basically Cars, the movie. But no, I mean that about like Atreus. He's getting all proudy, and he wants to go out in the real world and really show his dad up. But he knows nothing. He knows nothing about the real world, or whatever he said in the trailer. But this is a question I'm going to ask you, Ben, as a writer. Did they shoot themselves in the foot by giving Kratos a son? Because they've kind of. What are they going to do after this?
I don't know. I go back and forth on this because I see what Alfredo's getting at, where it seems like the natural conclusion of this is a baton pass to Atreus.
Yeah,
and he becomes the new, you know, carrier of the franchise. But unless something really changes with Atreus in the next game, I am not going to be there for that because
he's no Kratos
is God of War. He is the franchise. I mean, it's been 7 games prior to 2018, 8 games prior to somewhere in there.
It's a lot of games. A lot of good Kratos games.
Yeah. 6 prior to 2018, where he was the main character, and then 2018, of course, where he's the main character. He's going to be the main character in this one too. So it'll be 8 total games in his saga. Maybe that means it should be the end for him, but at the same time, I don't really buy it. It's not to me, it doesn't make sense the way that passing the baton from Joel to Ellie between The Last of Us to The Last of Us 2.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I could definitely see them doing some Wolverine crap where, he dies in the second one and then like he gets resurrected later on.
But
like
he's Simba? He's Simba? Like, it's a circle of life, son.
Well, basically.
He speaks to him from the stars,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
He sort of died at the end of God of War 3.
True.
I mean, they showed that his body was missing at the very end, but he suffered a fatal blow. But he is a god, so.
Well, also, because they're running out of, they've a little bit shoehorned themselves into this sort of genre of taking on like pagan religion. What do they have left to do?
Where do they go next?
Where do they go next? With all that, because they've done Greek and Roman and what are they gonna fight the Zoroastrian god of fire and Jesus? I don't know where else they go.
Move to the MCU, where I don't even know what mythology that's based off of.
Yeah. Have they done an Egyptian Kratos? Has he fought
so that would be an avenue, but they would have to go back in time, right? Because Norse mythology is so much more recent than Egyptian mythology. Maybe they could do like Mayan, something like that could be cool. He goes to a new continent, that kind of thing. But yeah. So I'm sure they could find something, but I think you're right that at least as of right now, I don't see how they end this story in a satisfying way in just one more game. So Ragnarok is going to have to be pulling double duty. Not only is it closing us out, but it's justifying the fact that this is the one that closes us out, right? We don't have a second game to be like, okay, now we go into Ragnarok for the third game.
I think it's also important to note that the original director of the game, Cory Barlog, is not the director of this second game either, of God of War Ragnarok. They switched directors. I forget what the new director's name is, but they basically did a baton pass to finish off this, duology, if it is that. But at the same time, during the conference, kind of like that conference after show, Cory Barlog did mention that, they're working on other side projects that are unannounced that they're not willing to, kind of share right now. So it could be something in, the God of War universe where, he's working on the Atreus stuff. Like he's working on like the next iteration, whatever that may be. So that is exciting to know. That they do have other plans, Sony Santa Monica, and I do trust them to finish off this Ragnarok well, because I have no reason to doubt them. The first one was amazing, so from a story perspective and gameplay, but from a story perspective, I completely trust them when it comes to this. But I do want to go back to kind of what you were saying when you were first opening this, Ben, in that it just seems like more God of War. Like nothing particularly stood out for me as far as gameplay, as far as like what I was looking for. Like it didn't wow me, and I guess I didn't know what I was expecting, because it's just more God of War, which is what we want, but at the same time we want something new that'll blow us out of the water. And maybe they're probably saving the big epic showcase fights for when they're ready to show more. But it's I don't know how I'm gonna feel like shelling out $70 for what might end up feeling like God of War 1.5, like additional DLC for it.
I've been, just as we've been talking about it, I've kind of framed in my mind, I guess, the way that I'll think about this going forward. But I was sort of surprised in a negative way to see that it felt so similar to the previous game, because the previous game was such a breath of fresh air. But really, this game is to God of War 2018 what God of War 2 was to the original God of War. It's just taking what was there and building on it. And God of War 2 is an awesome game. I don't think you can knock God of War 2 for incrementally improving on everything and just adding more. So hopefully we get something like that, and then whatever game God of War game comes after Ragnarok will be that next step.
I hope Atreus dies. I hope that's the little maybe twist they're going with, because I want to stick with Kratos. I hate Atreus. He is no Simba.
Got
He
that
is no
teenage angst.
he's no Lightning McQueen. He's got no redeemable qualities throughout that entire game. I know it was kind of like a tiny redemption arc, or at least a parental teaching his son how to do stuff not shittily arc. But he seems like a kid who's complaining that his salmon shorts have like a stain on them to his mother because they went to a lobster restaurant. He's a prick. I don't like Atreus. I don't want him to be the main character of any game. Yeah. I hope he dies. And I hope
no Lightning McQueen.
He's no Lightning McQueen.
They'll definitely have an uphill battle, getting us to like him. But I think they can do it.
It would take a minor miracle or a major miracle.
Speaking of somewhat disappointing first-party reveals, we've got the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, which is the PS5 and PC bundling of Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy, with remastered improvements and such. But this does imply that there is no PS5 free upgrade to either of those games coming. And if you would like an improved experience on PS5, you just got to shell out more money. What did you guys think of this reveal?
I'm pissed. You want to know why I'm pissed? Because I was literally looking at Uncharted, The Lost Legacy, deciding whether I'm going to play that or I'm going to play Horizon. And I ended up starting a new game of Horizon with the intention of playing Lost Legacy next. And now I got to be bitter that, this remastered version is coming. Who knows when, because they didn't give us a date. And I'm definitely not going to shell out an extra, $30, $40 to play the remastered version. Because honestly, that game looks amazing in and of itself. So I'm just not going to pay for, that updated graphics when it's not really needed.
It does, but it's locked at 30, isn't it?
It is. Yep. It is locked at 30.
It's a big
but
difference.
I'm okay with that because I don't want to pay $30 or more for that.
I hear you.
I sometimes forget that Rare makes this game. Sea of Thieves, don't they?
You're talking about Sea of Thieves.
I thought
Uncharted.
I thought we were talking about Sea of Thieves. I was so confused for a minute. I was like, what are you talking about?
The Uncharted bundle is called Legacy of Thieves.
Yes.
So
it's the combination of Uncharted 4 and Uncharted The Lost Legacy in one package.
Okay, then I didn't actually see anything about Uncharted, so I don't know what you're talking about.
The exciting part of it is that, not that it's remastered, but that it's coming to PC, both PS5 and PC. So that's exciting for people because, PC doesn't really get much love until years after these great games come, which is, this case, this is just a remaster of these great games. But hey, it's on PC. More people will get to play it.
If you're playing it on PC, if you're planning on getting this game on PC, though, I would not recommend playing either of those games until you play the previous ones.
You can play,
just story wise.
You can play Lost Legacy. I think it does a good enough job as a standalone story. And Chloe's best girl, so
This is true.
I need to finish Uncharted 4. I just realized that it's right in front of me, and I need to finish it. So I'm going to play that. You made me want to play Uncharted. I completely forgot about Uncharted. It completely slipped away from my brain.
No, now you gotta wait for the remastered version.
Now I gotta play for the remastered.
There's no choice.
Yeah, just try it again.
All right. Well, that was our first party section of the conference. That was everything that happened at the end. So let's talk about the 30 minutes of that I mentioned earlier.
Do we
will start with the one thing that really was surprising to me and that I was really happy to say. I knew it was coming though. There's been so many rumors about this thing. Knights of the Old Republic remake by Aspyr. We didn't see anything about it. A little hype teaser. There was no gameplay. They had a little developer interview at the after show, but aside from that, I'm very hyped. One of my favorite games, Knights of the Old Republic. Maybe I'll do a reminisce on it sometime. It's definitely one of my favorite games of all time, and I can't wait to see what they come up with for. I think they really need to change the core gameplay of the game, the turn-based combat. I think they should do a Final Fantasy VII to it. But aside from that, so much about this game is still so relevant and
is
awesome.
it turn-based?
I did not know that either.
Yep,
wow.
Totally turn-based.
Completely, 100% throughout the entire game.
Well, okay, so no, actually, sorry, it's not turn-based. It's It's real-time combat.
Real-time combat.
Pause.
Okay.
With pauses. So
yeah, okay.
you're queuing up your. It's if you play Baldur's Gate or BioWare's older RPGs.
Yeah.
You know what this combat system was like. This was their first stab at translating that old isometric RPG system to a fully 3D game.
Then it has to be updated.
You're queuing. It's a very antiquated combat system.
That's not going to sell in 2020 or whatever year it is.
Right. Are you comparing it to Pillars of Eternity? Is it like that?
I think Pillars of Eternity does the real time with pause thing.
Okay.
Which was that classic CRPG model. Basically, at any time you can pause to stop the game entirely. Mm-hmm. You can queue up your attacks, and then they'll play in sequence while the other person's attacks happen. But you do like your enemy has to attack, and then you attack, and then your enemy has to attack. But it's turn based in the sense of like the computer is handling the queued attacks, so you're taking turns doing your attacks, but you don't have to wait till they're done. It's not like Persona where you have to wait till they're done and then you can go. You just queue up what you're doing.
If it was that one, it probably would honestly make me even more excited, just because I feel like I always hear about this game from how great it was from a story perspective, but I never hear about it from just a straight gameplay. And like you said, I'm not sure that one would really get me to get it, but like you said, a Final Fantasy VII or even just like a switch to complete turn-based, that would get me to play the game.
Yeah.
But I'm sure this will fly off the walls because it's Star Wars anyway.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic is such a well-regarded game. It's funny. I've played Knights of the Old Republic many times, and I've never really cared for the combat. You do quite a bit of it in the game, but I always try to speed through it as fast as possible, pretty much, to get to the next thing. So so hopefully they make some major improvements on that front. Looking forward to it for sure. Next one, Project Eve.
Great ass.
This was just the conference of great asses.
It was the conference of great ass. Was it weird that like every single shot in that was of her ass? I mean, I know that's how Bayonetta does it, but
I definitely noticed that.
It was classic anime trailer.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like 2020. Like, come on. At least they gave us Thor. So I'm fine with that. That's all I have to say about it.
Her outfit looked good though. Like she was fully covered. She looked great, kicking ass specifically.
That's
like
true.
The game looked really good. The actual gameplay. And they were shoving it down our throats or I guess a red herring that this was supposed to be a Parasite Eve game, because as we had briefly talked about off camera, they were saying, Eve, you have to stop the parasites. Eve is parasiting the parasite. Like, they were really going overboard. So I thought it was Parasite Eve. But the thing is, in the original Parasite Eve, you played as a cop who was trying to stop Eve. So this time it looks like you're playing as Eve itself. So they might be doing some sort of spin. But Ben, what were you saying about them coming out and saying something about...
Apparently it's got nothing to do with Parasite Eve. It just got Eve and parasites. So I guess they're just making some homage to it. I don't know what they're doing, but it looks great. It looks like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry like combined with a little bit of Nier. So like it's
can you explain it to me, because every single article said it looked like Nier, and the trailer.
I think for me at least, it was when they were panning out and looking over like the ruins of the different cities, kind of like Pragmata did, where like they have these ruins of giant skyscrapers and stuff. That gave me big Nier vibes.
Sure.
And kind of the futuristic-ish look, like when you were actually inside some of the ruins. That's what I was getting from it, and a little bit of the combat too. But
that makes sense.
Nier vibes.
We also saw some gameplay from Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
I predict this game being very popular.
Really?
I predict this game selling like hotcakes and becoming a streamer staple.
Why do you think that?
Because it takes like D&D stuff and mixes it with Borderlands stuff, and that's all you really have to say. It's stupid, but it looks like stupid fun, and
definitely,
I'm looking forward to it.
I don't know about you guys, but I was actually getting some BioShock vibes from it. Not in the art style. Yeah, because of the powers, like, because they were like with left hand, freeze them, and then like pulling out their like shotgun, their shorty to just obliterate them. So it was giving me some BioShock vibes.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very popular.
Game looks good.
Yeah, looks good.
Like more Borderlands, but
it does. It really. I think that's the thing I can't get over is that it's just like this is a Borderlands game, whether you want to call it that or not. This is totally a Borderlands game.
Hopefully, it sells better than 3 did, because I don't think 3 did very well.
Oh, really? I thought 3 sold very well.
Yeah. I could be wrong.
I might be wrong. Speaking of games that are more of the same, we saw more Deathloop.
It looks good. Stop it.
It does. It looks so good, and I can't wait to play it. But it's only 4 days away from release. Why are you showing us more gameplay?
This game.
This like screamed of contractual obligation to me. Yeah. But I have been and continue to be super hyped for Deathloop. I hope this game is awesome. I hope they got plenty of polish time, because they were originally supposed to release in May, and now they're releasing in September. So I hope this game is polished to a mirror shine, and that it just, is everything that it's promising to be.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts. Next Saturday? Next week?
Unfortunately, I'm moving over the next couple weeks. So I'm literally like packing up my PS5 immediately after Deathloop comes out.
No.
So I'm debating on whether or not to like play the first couple hours and just get a taste, or just to wait until I can play the whole thing through. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But yeah.
We'll be waiting patiently.
Yeah. Did this change your mind for either of you guys? Are you going to play this game?
Oh, nope. Absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not.
Taylor, you're definitely going to play it?
What, Deathloop?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm absolutely going to play it.
I think you, Thomas, and I were going to play it, so maybe we'll do a spoiler cast.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to play
this game. Please do.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. We saw something new here. This one definitely intrigued me. This is Kid Amnesia. It's an exhibition, Radiohead, Epic Games collab. I love Radiohead personally.
Oh, I love Radiohead too. Yeah. Tom York is...
So like seeing the intro of this trailer, I was like, "Ooh, okay, so this game's got some Radiohead in it. I'm already intrigued." And then it was Radiohead. I'm like, "Oh shit, okay, so this is new. This is interesting." What do you guys think?
I am hesitant to say I'm gonna like it, because I don't care for the way Epic Games has been doing art pieces. And that's all this game is really gonna be. It's gonna be an art piece. Did you see their Mlk Tribute in Fortnite?
No, I didn't.
They did an event where it was MLK's March on Washington in Fortnite.
Really?
Yes. Huh. And it was embarrassing, and it was horrible and cringy and terrible, and they tried to take out everything racist they could, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because obviously people on the internet are going to figure out how to do something like that. I think the novelty of the concerts in Fortnite are kind of cool. I attended the Travis Scott one because it was the first one. It was kind of neat. But it seems novel, and if this isn't like super artsy, I'm not gonna care for it. I think video game art pieces have their place, but from what I've seen, Epic do, it's not there. And as much as I like, as much as I like Tom York, he's crazy. he's crazy. I don't know if combining both these kind of weird mediums will mix well.
I hope it does. I hope it really does. Did you see the Netflix thing that they did? That Tom York
did? No, I don't. I didn't. What was it?
Okay, yeah, I got to check it out. It's another it's like a 20-minute kind of sensory experience, audio visual.
Oh, weird.
Type
okay.
thing. Yeah, I haven't checked it out yet, but apparently it's pretty compelling.
The reason I was excited for this when I first saw Tom York appear, I was like, oh shit, a band's working on a video game. The reason I thought that was because a band I liked a lot, Thunderbolt, I believe their name was. It was just a drummer and a bassist, and they were fucking awesome. They just played rock, heavy metal. Their fingers would bleed by the end of concerts. They would just do concerts in fields in Japan. It was awesome. Really badass musicians. Really crazy. They have comics. They do art. A person bought me one of their comics. Weird comic. They made Thumper. If you remember Thumper.
Yeah, they did.
I love Thumper.
And
I love Thumper.
Thumper's amazing. And so when I was seeing this, I was just immediately thinking back to Thumper, and I'm like, musicians can make really cool games. That's 100% true. I just don't know if just an art piece showing off Tom York's weird ass art is a thing I want to play.
Sure, yeah.
So
I definitely was like a little let down when I saw it was an exhibition and not a game.
Yeah.
But I hear you. Anyway, we'll see how it pans out. I'll definitely try it out. We also saw Chaya. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. This is a very cute looking game.
Mm-hmm. Zelda-like inspirations.
Any thoughts beyond that? Yeah, Zelda, sure, certainly.
I thought it looked more like, I don't know, kind of like a slice of life is like an anime kind of term, but it's like, oh, you're just this cute little kid going on an adventure and living your life. It seemed like just like more like a kind of like Animal Crossing, just like a life simulator. But then she turned into a bird, and I was confused. She seems to have some magical powers where she can like become different animals, which could be like a neat little gameplay hook. But after that, after that, the trailer took a turn where it was like, oh, like it's supposed to be maybe this coming of age tale, but like you're going on some sort of like actual adventure in the style of like Moana, maybe, like reminding me of some sort of like cute artsy like little Pixar Disney adventure movie, like a movie tie-in kind of, which we don't really get too often. I feel like we don't get those family friendly, just kid having fun adventures. So I'm here for it. I'll probably play it, not on launch, but I'll probably play it eventually. But I am excited to see where it could go.
I hope this game is more than the sum of its parts, because they opened the trailer with like the guitar playing mechanic from The Last of Us 2. It's just straight up the same guitar playing mechanic from The Last of Us 2. And then they showed, of course, the Breath of the Wild, the obligatory Breath of the Wild glider that you must have in all games. Mm-hmm. I think the sort of like animal possession mechanic is fairly unique. Not many games have anything.
That's
like
Mario
that.
Odyssey.
Dishonored would be.
It's Mario.
True.
It's literally
You're right.
Mario Odyssey.
It's just a bunch of games combined into one.
Okay, so the point I was going to make, which this now supports that totally, is that this game appears to be biting off a lot of other games that it takes inspiration from, but in a game where you're not bashing people's brains in with lead pipes or fighting goblins. Mm-hmm. So all that to say, I hope that this game is greater than the sum of its parts, and that it can tie all of these inspirations into something cohesive and something that really justifies the things that they're clearly omitting from a traditional open world experience, like combat or NPCs. It seems like. Anyway,
seems like there are some NPCs, but more there for like story reasons. So it will be interesting seeing how they tie that in.
Yeah, seems creative, and I'm hopeful. Mm-hmm. Alfredo, are you hopeful for Forspoken?
Oh, yes, I am. And I knew we were going to see it. I didn't think we were going to see Final Fantasy 16, which we didn't. But we saw Forspoken. And this game, I didn't think it was possible, but I'm even more excited about this game. because many people might not be excited about, oh, I'm this person in this new land, I have powers, like that kind of deal. But which is apparently exactly what this game is, but her powers are awesome. And what this game actually looks like is that it's going to be a Harry Potter-ish type game, which I did not expect. Like, you learning different elements. She was controlling water, she was like using ice, fire, earth, like all of that was in it. And it looked like she was like in some sort of school-ish, or the story that they introduced, like the little snippets that we saw when she was talking, what I envisioned was like these professors, but they could easily not be. But it reminded me of the newest Alice movies, where if you guys have seen like the new Alice movies, they're bad, so
Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, like the new
with
ones
the Tim
with Johnny
Burton
Depp.
ones.
Yeah, that one.
With the Goofalop dance or whatever.
Yeah, and it's basically this exact scenario where Alice is thrown into this land. She's the prophesized one to come in, learn these new skills, like these abilities, and then defeat the queen. Which is basically what they said in Forspoken in these trailers, that she has to defeat all of these different like dictators around the world, basically. But I don't know, like the magic aspect really got me super excited about this game, because I want to do magic powers like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, like the very first PC game that came out.
That was a good game.
That was a good game.
That was fun.
Good game, and they do.
Was that the one where you traced the spell?
It sure was.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So if we could get something like that, but like in a modern fantasy setting, I'm here for it. And apparently we're getting it in spring 2022.
Whenever that comes.
Yeah, whenever that comes.
if it ever comes. What about Rainbow Six Extraction? The newest entry into the Rainbow Six. Meh.
Yeah.
No.
Show me another Payday.
Oh yeah.
People will be excited for it. I'm excited for people.
Yeah.
It's
it
true.
looks like could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
This one was curious. Alan Wake Remastered. Now, you guys will remember
October 5th. Also.
Yes, coming this year, exactly. You guys will remember that Alan Wake, of course, was an Xbox exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Both Alan Wake and what was it? Alan Wake American Nightmare. Is that what
Yep.
the DLC or this standalone expansion was called?
Mm-hmm.
Both of those were Xbox exclusive. So Alan Wake has never actually been on PlayStation before, except in the DLC for Control, the final DLC for Control. And so, what do you think this is? Do you think this is Remedy trying to just diversify its IP, or do we know, is this game coming only to PlayStation? This remaster?
I have no idea.
I mean, I don't think it would only be coming. I doubt the remaster would only be coming to PS5, just because of how much of it would kind of be a slap in the face to Xbox people and PC people, because that's where the fandom lives for them. But it's definitely interesting that it showed up in the showcase, because I really don't know their plan for it, because I definitely don't see Alan Wake 2 being PS5 exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, Alan Wake always struck me as this like game that has a super cult following, because it never
really broke out.
Yeah, it was never like a mainstream game. It was like always one of those games like kind of like a survival horror-ish game that was kind of like Resident Evil old school games, but also not really. So it's gonna be interesting seeing if they end up doing an Alan Wake 2, like how they modernize it so that it can go into the mainstream.
I wonder for this one, if they will change the game in any way to tie it into the Control universe, because we now know that Remedy is operating in this kind of Marvel Cinematic Universe type model where all of their IP that they own, which would include Quantum Break, Alan Wake, and Control. I don't think that Max Payne, their first series, is under their umbrella. I think Rockstar still owns Max Payne, so I don't think that counts. But I wonder if they would modify some things in this original Alan Wake remaster, which they said it was a remaster, but the graphics look pretty good. It seems like a pretty thorough overhaul. If they modified anything to tie it in further,
I could definitely see them like throwing in Easter eggs,
sure.
but I don't think they'll do anything substantial. Maybe like a teaser after credit scene type of deal in addition. But I think it'll be nice for all of those cultish fans out there.
Definitely. This was also the fruit of Remedy's collaboration with Epic Games.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Epic Games is publishing this remaster.
Fingers in so many.
And I wonder if they are going to be, if Epic will be publishing any future Alan Wake stuff, or if this is remasters of these Alan Wake games, and maybe even Quantum Break are kind of the extent of Epic's relationship with Remedy. We'll have to see how that's borne out.
Mm-hmm.
Because Remedy is, I think they also still have a relationship with 505, and they still have a relationship with the studio that they're doing. They are doing like the single player campaign for a studio that's making a multiplayer game. I forget. Crossfire. Crossfire is the name of that game. Crossfire X. So yeah, we'll have to see how deep the relationship runs with Epic. Speaking of multiplayer games, Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. You guys Vampire the Masquerade fans at all? Yeah. They're really pimping this IP recently, aren't they? They're trying to make a big revival. I'm seeing werewolf games and vampire card game, and obviously Bloodlines 2 is still in the pipeline.
Yeah. It's weird because I believe Blood Hunt, like this battle royale type ish spinoff, was just shown off a couple of months ago with the Jeff Keighley's conference. I forget what it was called. And I don't think they showed off gameplay, so this was the first time that we showed it, and it looks fun. It looks definitely interesting. I just don't see it, being so distinguishable from all the other battle royales, because it doesn't look like anything special to me, at least. But I don't know. We'll see.
To me, these games are all coming out too early. I mean, if Bloodlines, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is really good, then it would create the kind of groundswell to justify all these other games in the IP. But as of right now, it's like to me, it seems like they're only speaking to their own audience, which I don't know how many people are just ravenous about Vampire Masquerade.
I think it would have probably been a good idea to maybe pack it in as like the multiplayer mode to Masquerade 2 or whatever that game is called, whenever that came out, because that would get the people who were excited about that game to just try the multiplayer. But like you said, they're speaking to their fans now instead of being able to invite new people to it, or much more new people that they could, because that's like going to be their headliner.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it shakes out. This one I'm sad Cole is not here to give us his disappointed reactions to. We saw more GTA 5 and GTA Online.
Fuck off. Get out of here.
From Rockstar Remastered Gta 5, which we originally saw this time last year when PlayStation did their previous press conference.
This is something I've noticed about remasters in games sometimes, especially since when I was a little baby idiot playing video games on my GameCube and PlayStation. Games looked amazing. And I think I've tricked my memory into remembering games a lot better. But then GTA 5 is such a weird anomaly when it comes to remasters, because it came out, 5 years ago? I don't even know. Came out no time ago. I can't tell a difference. I'm not looking at footage of the old games, but it doesn't look any different in my memory to how I played those games when they first came out. So it's...
Agreed. Morgan Theft Auto.
Sure, Ratchet and Clank look different than how I played them as a kid, but my memory still makes them look like how they do now.
I think it's just disappointing also how, we didn't get the rumored, Grand Theft Auto trilogy that, was going around, or even Los Santos, expansion pack, anything added to online. It was just, hey, like everything that's already on the PS4 is coming to the PS5.
Yes.
Grand Theft Auto fans remind me a lot of Pokemon fans, where they want these like really, that sounds like really great ideas, but they're never gonna happen.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
want the moon.
they want really really crazy things, and it's not gonna happen ever. So,
But eventually, those Pokemon fans are going to get Pokemon Legends arcades.
we'll see how that turns out.
There's hope for
We'll see how
Grand
that turns
Theft Auto
out.
fans everywhere.
Maybe.
I said it before, and I'll stick with it. I am interested enough in replaying GTA 5 that I will probably go back for the PS5 version.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, maybe I'll dip in for some online too, because I've always been curious about GTA Online. Just been scared off by those ridiculous load times, which will probably remain ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're going to wrap up here with another Bethesda game. The other of the two Bethesda games that has a weird contractual relationship with PlayStation dating back before the Microsoft acquisition. One of them, of course, was Deathloop. This other one being Ghostwire Tokyo from Tango Gameworks. This game looks cool. What do you guys think?
Yeah. It looks pretty cool.
Well said.
All right, well, we've been the Dukes of
We've been the
Gaming.
Dukes of Gaming. We'll see y'all next week.
Wrap it up.
Hug your mothers, kiss your fathers.
Yeah, the game does look good. I'm personally not a fan of a Bethesda-ish type game, first person, and anything involving Bethesda-ish type gameplay like Dishonored or anything like that. It doesn't really float my boat. From a graphical standpoint, it looked really cool. And the powers also look cool, but it's just a game that doesn't float my boat personally.
Yeah, it did seem to be first person, and the past two Tango Gameworks games were third person, The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2. So it is a bit of a departure for Tango. But yeah, I don't know. Just something about the aesthetic of this kind of horror world speaks to me.
Mm-hmm. Did you play their previous games, Evil Within?
I didn't. Okay. No, I didn't. I might this Halloween. I'm thinking about what kind of scary games I'm going to want to be playing coming up. And that one's, I have it. It's, it's been on my backlog for a long time, but never gotten around to it. But Ghostwire Tokyo, just, I don't know. So something about the aesthetic of it, all the Slender Man guys and the all that shit, people floating. It just seems cool. So I without anything else really to go on, the gameplay seemed interesting. I'm cautiously looking forward to it.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was that with the PlayStation press conference. Some of it was meh, some of it was great, and so the way I want to wrap this up is to bring up a Push Square article that I read that the thrust of it was essentially that this PlayStation conference was pretty good, but it was not enough. They needed to say more than they did here because they haven't been saying anything. Yeah. And there's still the massive impending threat of Game Pass and Sony completely refusing to respond to it in any meaningful way, in this press conference as well. The way that they keep responding to it is like, well, we've got the games. Yeah. So
it was cute back when they did it with the little we could share discs thing, but they're like, cockiness is not cute anymore. It was cute back then, but it just is not deserved.
Yeah, I mean, especially because like from this conference, I was expecting a lot more, specifically, updates on factions. What is Naughty Dog working on? What is Sony Ben working on? Like other things, but also they didn't really say anything of what they have for the rest of the year. Like we have Deathloop, which is coming in a few days. We have Kino, which is also coming in a few weeks. But after that, from a first party perspective, like what do we have for 2021? I don't think we have anything, or am I wrong?
How much?
No, I mean, Deathloop is a second party. But,
yeah. How much?
Or I guess third party exclusive.
How much of this sort of like weird space they're in is because you can't buy a PS5? Do you think they were being really hesitant until like a large majority of the market owns a PS5 instead of just like wants one?
I think I don't know, because I'm hesitant to say that because it's not like they're stopping. They're not solely doing PS5 exclusives.
Sure.
Like with Horizon, it's coming to PS4. With God of War, I wouldn't be surprised if that came to PS4 as well, honestly. So I think they could still do that where it comes to both PS4 and PS5. But even giving us little hints of teasers of what's coming next, or at least what these studios are, working on, they could definitely do a lot better job with that, because what I saw today, it wasn't as impressive as what I was expecting. I was expecting the twists, and they didn't bring it.
Could some of those studios be working on those exclusive PS5, that exclusive PS5 content, which will probably happen inevitably soon enough? And could they be holding off before, like, they don't want people to like be at their house with pitchforks saying like, can't be making games I can't be playing, and
Right.
eventually, like I'm sure they told a bunch of developers, here's our new hardware, make stuff that plays on it, and they had to quickly like backtrack to, okay, we need to still make your stuff not good enough just yet that we can still put it on the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, obviously they had a long time knowing that they were going to be supply constrained. They knew all through 2020 that they were going to be supply constrained. So they had some time to pivot to what you're saying, Taylor, essentially backtracking on things that would have been PS5 exclusive, making them PS4 exclusive. I've heard this argument before, and I don't know that I really buy it. Nothing about Sony's strategy says to me that they are reacting to the fact that PlayStation 5s are hard to find.
Sure.
It's not like they're trying to play damage control in any meaningful way. And also, how difficult are they really to find? I know that there are plenty of people who can't find them in stores. I mean, you can't find them in stores pretty much.
Yeah.
But they still managed to sell 10 million in record time.
That's
right.
true.
So that means they're not they're not more supply constrained, or at least they're not so supply constrained that they couldn't outsell the PS4, the previous best-selling console in the US. So I don't know. I just don't necessarily think that this is about the PS5 supply constraint.
What if instead of it being a supply constraint thing, what if they're trying to front load the market with cross-compatible games? Like, let's flood the market with stuff that a large swath of people can buy regardless. Even if, I mean, you're right, the PS5 hasn't sold horribly at any rate. So what if they're trying to flood the market up front with a glut of like games that could be both PS4, PS5, get people used to like just having games, and then in a year or so you do release those Naughty Dog like GTA 6 PS5 exclusive. They're really big home run hitters come out in like a year or so. And they're just throwing everything else on the two systems right now, just to like maximize profit.
Why wouldn't they just talk about it though?
Suspense. I don't know.
Well, they
I
do have that right now.
Yeah, it's Sony, and they don't like to say a lot of things for very unknown reasons. But that does make me think, Clams. Do you think the Spider-Man 2 that's coming out in 2023 is slated for it? Do you think that'll be a PS5 exclusive, or do you think it also will come to PS4?
Ooh, good question. Depends on if it's multiplayer or not, which probably won't be, as you said. But if it was multiplayer, I could see it being PS5 only. Just because
I think it gives it enough time. I think definitely by 2023 we'll be in the mindset where PS5 exclusive will be a thing. Like, it won't just be, Returnal won't be like these one-off games. It'll be like every first party,
I'm just thinking they're weaning us off the PS4. I agree with you. I just think they're trying to get us to stop suckling off the PS4 slowly but surely. Like, I mean, it's sharp, but I do it, put an eye out. But but I mean, with all these charges we're talking about too, all these tiny upcharges that are causing uproars, I'm thinking it really is just like really trying to get people to like move on from the PS4, because let's be realistic, the PS5 doesn't have like the best selling points on the market at all, when I still like the PS4 more in a lot of ways. I still look at it and I'm like, there's no reason for me to buy a PS5, especially if the games are coming out on both systems. The PS4 has a disc drive, just like standard. I can watch DVDs and Blu-rays on it. It fits in my room better. it just sort of fits better in a space. I don't know. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of reasons I don't want to buy a PS5.
Yeah.
And I think Sony is trying to like push us off of it slowly but surely by like, here's a lot of okay games. Like you got your Star Wars, you got your Tiny Tina, Wolverine, you got your okay, really cool, like I'll buy them and play them games, and then get people really like full of passion and energy, like where's GTA 6? Like that weird German guy, like running out on stage assaulting Jim Carrey or whoever it was with like where's GTA 6, and then next Sony showcase, they're like, here's GTA 6, and you got gameplay, you got a trailer, you got everything, and out this Christmas. Okay, gotta buy a PS5, exclusively PS5. I'm buying a PS5 and GTA 6. That's what I feel like would make sense to me why they're being like so horrible and boring.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like if that were the tactic, they just wouldn't. Horizon and God of War just would not be on PS4, you know, and that would be because there are plenty of people within the PlayStation ecosystem that would.
It depends on what
that would be what they bought the PS5 for.
Uncharted and God of War look like Horizon and God of War look like they're on the same engine. Like there's no like upgrade in the engine, like.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're still on PS4.
Exactly. So
Horizon does look way better. God of War looks the same to me, at least.
I feel like I can still tell that Horizon is on the same engine as the last one. All the assets all look exactly the same. Mm-hmm. They look shinier and much more well rendered. But I could see that like to play on the PS5's like maximum processing power. You build new engines for your games, a la Hideo Kojima would do. Cool, I can make a new engine, make it really spotless. I can see them asking Naughty Dog to make a new engine, specifically because GTA and Cowboy game are so.
No, you mean Rockstar?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. What did I say?
Naughty Dog.
Oh yeah, Naughty Dog too. I don't know. Bethesda too. While we're talking about them, but they, you know. Their Xbox is little baby now, so
yeah. Mm-hmm. Bethesda will never create a new engine. They will just keep on their own.
That's true.
They will never create a new engine. And frankly, most of these studios just build on top of their old engines. I think the Decima engine that Death Stranding and Horizon, the new Horizon, is going to run on. Is the same engine that Killzone Shadowfall was running on.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's once you've got a good tool set and a good like technical background to build off, it makes way more sense to go from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5 than to create something from the ground up, right?
Yeah.
It's just way too much time and effort, and you're going to create as many problems as you solve by starting from scratch.
Absolutely.
So that's why most studios just build on top. But if the foundation is shaky, which in the case of like Telltale Games, we know from reports on what it was like to work with their engine, that it was so unusable that any attempt to improve it was too little, too late. Mm-hmm. That may end up being the case with Bethesda as well, but I don't think that it's I don't think that it's the engine that's holding back God of War
or
Horizon. It's the older hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, through and through. All right, guys. Well, I think it's time for the podcast within a podcast. Take us back, Alfredo, in this reminisce.
Sure, and I'm gonna actually steal this reminisce to actually transform it into a confessional. So forgive me, Dukes, for I have sinned. Now I want to take you back, all the way back to the year. Oh, what year was it? God. 2000 2004? Question mark? Somewhere around there. Let's say 2004. 2004. How old was I? Let's say 10 years old. Alfredo. Seen New York City, super massive, like electronic store with records, PC games, video games, anything you could name. The PS2 was out, and we were allowed to roam this store with our parents. We were given the assignment of, you can pick one thing in the store, within a certain amount that you want to get. So obviously I was going straight for the video game section to see what video game I was going to get. In the section, what I saw was not one game that I didn't know was out or what it was. But two games. What I saw was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the PS2, which I had to have. It was only... Well, no, it was $50. So it was an expensive game because it had just came out. And I wanted this game real bad, so I got it. But then on my way to meet my parents to show them the new game that I got, I saw it at the corner of my eye, a game that forever changed my life because I didn't know that this game existed. What was this game, you might ask? It was Kingdom Hearts 1. Yes, I was not a Kingdom Hearts fan on day one because I didn't know it existed. But I saw out of the corner of my eyes, Disney characters on the cover, and I was like, what's this? So I had a real dilemma because, I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I wanted, but I also wanted this Kingdom Hearts game. Now, what happened was one of my sisters was also with me, and she could also pick one thing out of the whole store that she wanted. So my devious, selfish child mindset was like, I just need to convince her that she actually wants this Disney game because they have Disney characters. So that was my mission. And so I convinced her that she should use her, allowance to get this. And when we brought up both the games, I basically spoke for her, saying, yeah, this is the game she wants. Whenever she would try to speak, I would just overtalk her. Nope, this is the game she's getting. We go out of the store. Alfredo got 2 games. And I regret it ever since. I got the 2 games, I had a blast. Obviously she played Kingdom Hearts first in quotes, I was right behind her. But then when she was so uninterested, obviously, in the game, it was just fair for me to play. So I got to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Kingdom Hearts, and really I regret it, but at the same time, I don't, obviously, because I love Kingdom Hearts.
Help form you as a person, as the thief you are. Yeah, master manipulator you are. Yeah.
I think about that moment a lot, actually, and I'm just like, oh God, why did I do this?
There are worse things you could have done.
There are, but it goes up there. I'm still going to hell,
Well, you know what? I liked how you did this reminisce, and I'm going to use it as a template because I've got a slew of confessionals, and if I can put them out on this, there's a chance I might still get up to the big pearly gates. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes, I have confessed. So
I've got
there's hope.
Pile of confessions about evil things I've done for video games.
All right, now you got to go pray 10 Hail Marys.
All right, thank you.
I hope you enjoyed my turmoil.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching or listening to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. Again, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast service and watch us on YouTube. Please leave a like, a review, a comment, anything to help support the show. You can even email us at therealdukesofgaming@gmail.com to have it read on the air. All of our socials are in the description as well, and we will be coming at you next week with more hot takes. So hit the bell as well to get any notifications of when we release our latest videos on YouTube. We post everywhere, every Monday, every week. So make sure you start your week right with me and the fellow Dukes. And we'll see you next week. I bid thee farewell.